Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. For less than $10 per person, per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. You can choose from a variety of new recipes each week, or you can let the Blue Apron culinary team surprise you. They don't repeat recipes within a year. You won't get bored. Right now, they've got summer vegetable and egg paninis. They've got the soy-glazed pork and rice cakes with bok choy and marinated green beans. Customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has several delivery options, so you can choose what fits your needs. No weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Guaranteed. Blue Apron's freshness guarantee promises every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right. So check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Bomani. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/Bomani. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Got some of that Monday night football action last night. They gave us 2 games. At least rumor has it you gave us 2 games. I got a job, baby. I ain't have much for you on that second one. I researched it, though. Checked it out. Watched some GIFs. I believe they call them GIFs. See what was going on there. But the first gift, we had Adrian Peterson making his return to Minnesota, which resulted in things that you don't see that much from the Saints, like running in the I formation. And then you saw something on the other side, which, I mean, we really don't have that many examples of, which is Sam Bradford being absolutely lights out. So the thing with Sam Bradford has always been that he'll complete a lot of passes for you. They just won't go very far, right? Like, if you look at his numbers off a stat sheet, they are very Alex Smithian, right? If I'm not mistaken, let me go make sure I get a good look at this all the way. There was a long stretch of Sam Bradford's career where he did not average 7 yards per passing attempt at all. Now, Bradford is one of these guys, though, that you can go point to and try to be like, okay, who has he had to throw to? Who has he played with? So forth and so on, right? Like, I get it when people make the decision that that's where they're going to go with Bradford. It makes sense. But, man, we've never seen him be great. And my fault, 7.0 in 2016, 7.0 in 2015. Before that, all those years with the Rams, never averaged more than 7 yards an attempt. And 7.0 is not really like lighting it on fire. Dude, I'm looking at Sam Bradford back there in the pocket. He got the movement that you want. He's throwing the fakes. He's getting the ball into, dare I say, tight windows. Then he got out there, was throwing the ball down the field. It was like, yo. So all these cats like Kean who've been telling me that I've been too hard on Sam Bradford, is it possible that they were actually correct and Sam Bradford might be a little bit good? Is that the case? Because I don't know that much about the rest of these here Vikings, by the way. Stephon Diggs, I was familiar with Stephon Diggs coming in here. But, Shannon, do you view Stephon Diggs the way I view Stephon Diggs, the ghost of 5-star past?
To Maryland, right?
Yes, he is. He was top 10 player in America coming out of high school. But you know those guys, right? The goes to 5-star pass where the draft comes around and you start hearing people talk about how I'm really kind of excited about that guy. You're like, psh, you late. We've been ready for that dude. It just never quite, came together. Maryland, one of those schools that's like, ooh, really fast guy on the outside. We just won't get him the ball that much. In there where, what's his name? Darius Hayward-Bay went to school. And every year they were telling you that Darius Hayward-Bay was going to jump off. They just never gave him the ball. And then Al Davis was like, fine, I'll do it. And he's like, what? Huh? How? Wait, what?
What's his 40?
Yes, that's all I need to know. I don't care if he can catch a cold. We will take him. But so if you're the Vikings and you get a $120 out of Dalvin Cook, fantasy football, glad to have him. If you get a $120 out of Dalvin Cook and you're getting games like this out of Sam Bradford, granted, against the Saints and their secondary, which somehow is worse than it has been before, which is pretty staggering considering how bad they've been in previous years. But hey, Matt, if this is the guy that you got, you're in a pretty decent situation here, right? The Vikings defense came through. They played a strong one against the Saints. Because one thing about the Saints you generally assume is they're going to move down the field, right? They're going to put some points on the board. They were playing on turf. Now, granted, they weren't at home, but still, you would have expected a little more out of them. Except, that Saints offensive line, Shannon. Woo! Tom Savage is out there looking at that like, I don't want no parts of that one. Because then the left tackle's out, and then they put a rookie in behind him, and then didn't that dude get hurt?
funny when you brought that up. We talk so much about the lack of offense and the poor QB play, but one thing I've noticed this first week, Bo, the offensive line play in the NFL has been bad.
A lot of dots. Not a lot of lines. A lot of dots. A lot of unconnected groups. But, I mean, they were getting back there on Drew Brees in a way that I just did not recall seeing previous to that. How many sacks did the Vikings wind up having by the time it was all said and done? The Vikings they say only had 1 sack. I feel like I saw a lot more sacks, Shannon, and I stopped watching after the third quarter. Like, am I missing something here?
It was a lot more hurries, yes.
They were in his, what they call it, kitchen. They were all up in his kitchen. So we're going to get excited about the Vikings. It's Overreaction Tuesday, I suppose. We're going to get excited. Dalvin Cook, he got it going. Stephon Diggs, he was looking good. And Shannon, were you aware of Adam Thielen, a.k.a. the local favorite?
No, that was a new one for me. I'll be honest. I didn't know too much about him.
Did you know he had gotten a contract extension? Because I didn't know that either. Like, this is when you realize you haven't actually been watching a team play. When not only they're like the local favorite. I'm like, so was he playing the slot? And now I find out not only is he a starter, but he got his money. Ooh, my bad. Was I profiling? Did I profile? Is that what happened? By the way, how much do you think that Laquan Treadwell be hating on Thielen? I mean, I can do everything he do. They just like him because he, you know what I'm saying, he from around here. Yeah, that's it. But he's going down the field, man. Like, Thielen's one of these guys that blows people's minds because they're going to try to make him gritty and a possession receiver when no, in fact, he's big and fast. Right? Because what's he, about 6 foot, about 200-something pounds, and he's going down the field, right? Like, he is going to go get it. That dude is strong. So if they've got him and Diggs on either side, the Vikings may have convinced me that they have a chance to win their actually not that good division. So who else in that division? The Lions, the Packers, and the Bears. They can win this. That seems fair to say that this seems to be a team that can win that division. If the defense is playing anywhere near decent and Dalvin Cook turns out to be what I think Dalvin Cook is going to be, and I put my money where my mouth is when it comes to Dalvin Cook. I'm expecting him to carry my fantasy football team. So if that don't tell you how good I think he is, I don't know what does. They seem to have a little something going there. And again, Bradford, 27 for 32 for 346 yards. Shannon, is that the best game you've seen Sam Bradford play without an Oklahoma jersey on?
Yes. Unequivocally, yes. This I don't know, Bo. I know it's only one game, but this could be the season
that he puts it all together.
That Sam Bradford finally puts it all together.
I am willing to entertain the possibility that that is true because quarterbacks have all the time in the world to have the season to where they put it all together. Hey, Matthew Stafford, this might be the season for him where he puts it all together. I was watching him. You guys know I'm hard on Stafford, but I was watching him and he looked like he looked good. On Sunday. He looked good. Bradford, I felt the exact same way. Like, if I was to come in and to scout that team and look at that quarterback, you didn't give me any numbers or anything else, just let me look at him in the pocket. No, man, I'd say, hey, this team has a good quarterback. And I've never been that wild about Bradford. They got caught in that tricky situation last year where they had to give up all those picks in order to get them. But I tell you this, Sam Bradford have another game like that. What in the world is Teddy Bridgewater going to do? Like, where is there for him? What is there? In fact, Shannon, that's a fascinating question, right? Everybody talks about what they're going to do with these quarterbacks, right? Like, we don't have enough good quarterbacks. Does it not sound like pretty soon Teddy Bridgewater is going to be out there and available? And would that not be the most fascinating free agent quarterback situation you could think of? Because I have no idea where Bridgewater is physically, right? Like, that knee injury was supposedly really, really bad. One they thought they might endanger his career. That's why they gave up 2 first-round picks in order to get Sam Bradford, because when it happened, they weren't sure if Teddy Bridgewater was going to play again. But, Shannon, if there's a world where people talk about paying Kirk Cousins $25 million a year for multiple years on a contract, what do you do when Teddy Bridgewater's out here? Because Teddy Bridgewater is going to be out here.
And, of course, there are going to be questions about his health, but I can almost say with certainty that Bridgewater is better than some of these starting quarterbacks out here, and he's a lot better than some of these backup quarterbacks. But then I thought to myself, well, when has that stopped the NFL before from bringing in a quarterback who's better than other quarterbacks in the league?
But hold on, let's think about this, though. How many quarterbacks could Teddy Bridgewater beat out on one leg? We're talking about one-legged Teddy Bridgewater. Who you got, Shannon? One-legged Teddy Bridgewater or three-legged Mike Glennon with a third leg is his neck? Get your mind out the gutter.
Give me Teddy.
Yeah, say get your mind out the gutter, people. One-legged Teddy Bridgewater versus two-legged Blake Bortles. One-legged Teddy Bridgewater versus two-legged Tom Savage. Because to be fair, one-legged Teddy Bridgewater got as much chance of escaping the pass rush in Houston as two-legged Tom Savage. I think we'd agree on that. Like, I feel like they need to let punt returners decide if they're going to play quarterback for the Texans, because that's the kind of quickness you're going to need to try to save yourself in that backfield. Let me see what else we got here. I still think I'll take Andy Dalton over one-legged Teddy Bridgewater. Like, I still think I'm there. One-legged Teddy Bridgewater or Scott Tolzien, no. All right, and I understand this. One-legged Teddy Bridgewater is playing in the shotgun, so he's got a little time to survey the field before he throws the ball on one leg. So, yeah, yeah. That's about where I'm at. I'm not so sure I would take Trevor Siemian over one-legged Teddy over Trevor Siemian. I thought Trevor Siemian appeared to play pretty well, even though I didn't actually watch the game. There we go. So, yeah. Shannon, let's say this. Would you take one-legged Teddy Bridgewater over some of these starters? Yes or no? I feel like that's the poll.
Poll, we got it.
Who knew it? Minnesota's sitting on the greatest treasure trove of quarterbacks, even though one of their quarterbacks only got one leg.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
We're talking about what happened in the Vikings game against the Saints. Adrian Peterson, of course, was the interesting subplot as first game back in Minnesota. Or not his first game back in Minnesota, his first game out of Minnesota, or at least his first game out of a Minnesota Vikings jersey. My man Myron Metcalf was like, you got to remember that the Vikings only won one playoff game when Adrian Peterson was there, so it's not like Emmitt Smith coming back to Dallas. And I'm like, nah, but it's still Adrian Peterson. Like, he's been the face of this franchise, in effect, for about 10 years. How many all-time players for the Vikings have been better than Adrian Peterson, Shannon? Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, I can say the best of Randy Moss is maybe the better than the best of Adrian Peterson, but Adrian Peterson ran for 2,000 yards coming off an ACL tear. Like, who are we putting out here? Like Alan Page? Is that who we talking about? Who we got? Better Vikings than Adrian Peterson. Fran Tarkenton?
Was going to be the only other one I would have suggested.
And Fran Tarkenton kind of, he played for the Giants there for a stretch, so he doesn't, entirely belong to them in this way. Like, no, this is a big deal. Adrian Peterson coming back. He didn't play well. 6 carries for 18 yards. None of us really have any idea how good Adrian Peterson still is, because everything would indicate that he's over the hill, except for the fact that you go tell Adrian Peterson that he's over the hill, because I don't think I'm going to be the one to go tell Adrian Peterson that he is over the hill. But we did see Adrian Peterson give Sean Peterson that look, boy. That look. I don't even know how to describe that look. I just know when Adrian Peterson gave me that look, I felt like in my living room I need to stop doing whatever it was I was doing that made Adrian Peterson look like that. And look at me like that. Like, I didn't, like, why do you stop looking at me like that, man? He gave that look to Sean Payton. Sean Payton, I give him this, man. Sean Payton got some gangster in him. Sean Payton gave him that look right back. And yeah, I know Sean Payton been the coach there for a long time. He the man in charge, everything else. Every last one of us, Adrian Peterson give us that look. We're like, hey, come on, AD, everything cool, man? Why you got to look at me like that? Why you got to do that? And to each of those dudes' credit, right? Each of them didn't even remember that it happened, right? Here's Adrian Peterson. You're like, issues? What issues?
No, any issues? No, I don't know what clip you're talking about, but
you'll see it.
Yeah,
it's the one with the death stare.
The death stare. Well, one thing I said to him was, hey, got to run this inside zone, and we came out and we ran it. So, there's no conflict. Let's not try to spin it like it is. There's no conflict. I got a lot of respect for Coach Payton and his offense and what he's a great mind. So we're going to learn from this. The Vikings are going to learn from what they can learn from offensively and defensively, and a coaching staff and our coaching staff will do the same thing. They're going to look back and say, okay, what are the things we could have done better? And they're going to improve on those things. And as the players, we have the responsibility of doing the same thing.
Hold on. You had to listen to that very close, though. He's like, conflict? Wasn't no conflict. I did tell him that we needed to run that inside zone, and then we did. Adrian Peterson like, ain't no conflict. Ain't nobody getting no conflict with me. Adrian Peterson. I said run the inside zone, and what we do? Ran the inside zone. Say something now. Say something. How does this go for Peterson, though? Because Peterson has been the workhorse for so long, right? Like the centerpiece of an offense for so long. It's so wild seeing him on this rotation where these dudes are coming in and out. And I never felt like this team was a good one for him to be on, if for no other reason than, hey, man, they line up with 2 running backs and a tight end. And Adrian Peterson's deep. You know the ball is going to Adrian Peterson. You see them line up in the shotgun with Adrian Peterson next to Drew Brees. You know they're not giving the ball to Adrian Peterson because Adrian Peterson is an old school downhill, eye bone, give me the ball line me up 7 yards deep sort of running back. Like it feels like everybody has an idea of when it is that Adrian Peterson is going to get the ball in that offense. That's why I found it to be interesting that he wound up there because he just didn't seem to be a fit for what Sean Payton wanted to do. But they rolling all these dudes in and out of there, and that means sometimes Adrian Peterson doesn't get the ball to the end zone. Here's what he said about that.
I don't know. I was in there had a little, fake to the edge, and got out to the flat, so opportunity there, But I'm a competitor, I've played. You guys know me, and so of course when I'm not in there in the red zone, my mindset is on these guys that's in there, Mark and Alvin, to get it in and make something happen, and when that doesn't happen, of course I look at that and I'm saying, let's just pound the ball. But that's the way that I think because I'm programmed that way and I've done it for so long. For 10 years, I've done it that way.
I love that. He's like, yo, okay, so I watch these cats. I'm a team player. I'm wishing them the best as long as they get it done. If not, holla at your boy. Like, this is what he wants to be. The Saints have signed another running back in a similar situation before in the past. They signed Earl Campbell after Earl Campbell was done with the Oilers. And one day, Earl Campbell just looked up and was like, yo, man, I can't hit the hole like I used to do. I'm good. I'm done. Shannon, do you imagine that'll ever be a point like that with Adrian Peterson? Adrian Peterson is always going to be like, nah, man, I'm here. I can do this. Like, when will Adrian Peterson ever think he can't do it?
Never. And because honestly, if you're Adrian Peterson and you've been able to do these kind of superhuman things on the field, how is it you have some sort of humility to say, oh, no, I can't do this, or be honest with yourself? I'm sure can't's not even in his vocabulary.
Right. He's like, I'm not doing it, but if you give me a minute. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Let's hit the phone. Let's talk to Jackson in Oklahoma City. Jackson, thanks for calling the right time.
What's up, Bomani?
Doing all right, man.
So I wanted to call and tell you a story about why I quit football. So I quit football back in middle school, and that date's important because in middle school they kind of just let everybody play. They don't really make you do any tries or anything like that. So they got me out there playing free safety, and I'm undersized. I'm a grown man now, and I'm only 5'6". So back then I was like 5'3", and they got me back there playing safety. Well, the running back, who was not 5'3", probably about 6 foot already, 200, come running through the line, break through all the tackles, and I'm the last line of defense, and I had to make a business decision at that point. And so instead of making it obvious and running the other direction, I kind of just dove towards his feet, but not actually at his feet, just to make the coach look like I had made an effort, and then I quit and did karate. So I would rather let people punch and kick me on purpose than play football.
I got to say this, man, and I appreciate the call. I don't even see the point of doing the fake if you decided you was going to quit. You just run off the field right then and there, never be seen again.
My partners was there. I can't let them know.
Got you. Then you
my
learn
mama
karate.
was in the stands, bro.
Then you learn karate and they couldn't mess with you, man. But Jackson, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, bro.
All right, now, 888-729-3776. DJ Mike Hit, man, what's going on?
Let me ask you something. Hey, Bo, let me ask you something. I'm listening to you and Shaq, and y'all look like a smart and brilliant man. Who do Minnesota quarterback here? What's his name?
Sam Bradford.
Okay. What do Minnesota play in?
They play in a dome.
Okay. They got Pittsburgh. It's cold. You got Chicago. It's cold. You got Green Bay. It's cold. Then you go to Cleveland. It's cold. Then you travel up to Buffalo. It's extra cold. The guy can't play in the cold weather. I know he in Oklahoma, and the sun bright, good out there. But when he played cold weather, he's garbage. Remember that, Bo. You got to come to these cold places, and you can't grip the ball if you ain't got big hands. And he got very small hands. So Minnesota's just the same thing. They good in the dome, one game. But when it get cold, they garbage. Just root for the Cowboys, American team. You won't go wrong. And by the way, Shannon, there's no crying on the radio. I heard it sound like you was crying when you're low. I'm rooting for you. Remember, them things really gonna look good when me and you sit together and toast. How about them Cowboys? Have a good one, Bo.
All right, Mike. Shannon, were you crying?
I thought I handled the loss well, fellow member of the show, Allie Brunson, she's a Giant fan. She took it a lot worse than I did. I had very, 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 very low expectations once I found out Odell wasn't playing. I thought I handled it well.
So two people were crying.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
All right, so we've been asking you guys to call in and talk about the day that you decided you were going to quit playing football. We thought we'd do this for one day, Shannon. We've been doing it now for a week and change.
Yes, a week and a half. And I have I've heard your request, and I'm starting to put together a best of when it comes to these Why I Quit Football.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
We could probably put together like 5 volumes of this if it came down to it. Y'all love telling those stories. We'll get to some of those in a second. I wonder what Andrew Luck's story is going to be about the moment I decided I was going to quit football. Because at this point, if you're Andrew Luck, you got to consider it. Now, Andrew Luck has been ruled out already for week 2. The Colts don't know who their starting quarterback is going to be. Jacoby Brissett is a possibility, even though I believe he has been there all of 6 days with the team. All of 6 days. That Tolzien dude, apparently they're going to keep trotting him out there. Now, here's the thing about Tolzien and how bad Tolzien is. Tolzien's been working with the first team since April. Like, Tolzien had the whole training camp. He had every opportunity to be the guy to get comfortable with this team. And he went out there, Shannon, and looked like Silky Johnson's coat. I don't feel like there's any other way to describe what kind of play that they got out of your man, Scott Tolzien, where they had to go out there and put in Brissett. Brissett don't even know no plays. Like, I imagine Brissett was sitting there in the huddle holding his hand out and being like this. Okay, so what I want you to do is get up to here, right? And when you go past the fire hydrant, cut in, all right? Now, you, after he cuts in, then go ahead and stop right there. Now, you over here, yeah, there we go right there. Like, he's calling out the plays on his hand. He ain't really had a chance to really go through the iPad and get all the actual plays, right? Like, he doesn't really have. He out there looking like a ringer. Like, what's your name? You? T-Y? T-Y. Huh? Okay, cool. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and do that. There we go, right? Then we get out there. Then we go ahead and we make those plays. Now, the Colts are interesting because I forget where I was reading about this. Or somebody said they went to a practice with the Colts. And this is when Peyton Manning was there and Tom Moore was the guy running the offense. And he says he goes to the practice and Peyton Manning's getting all the snaps. And they asked Tom Moore, like, yo, why doesn't the backup get more work? And he says, oh, it's simple. Because if we have to go to the backup, we're bleeped. Like, it doesn't matter how much work the backup winds up getting. If we have to go to the backup, we're bleeped. Like, they made that call as a franchise. That's how they wound up that year that Peyton Manning got hurt. And they had to go to, I guess they went and signed Kerry Collins. And then it wound up being some Dan Orlovsky by the end of the year, right? They're like, look, if we go to the backup quarterback, we are bleeped. The Colts, however, were in a wilder situation, though, because they saw from way out that this was possible. Like, it seems like they are as surprised as we are every time Andrew Luck doesn't play. Or is it that they know and they just want to make it seem like they're as surprised as we are every time Andrew Luck doesn't play? Now, we could have a discussion about how they're basically setting fire to Andrew Luck's career, right? Like, there's something to be said for that. There were 2 quarterbacks at the top of the 2012 draft, and that was probably the best pair of quarterback prospects, right, that we have ever had at the top of a draft. It looked like neither team could go wrong with the quarterback that they took. And what it seems to have happened is at least one of those quarterbacks' career is done, and his franchise had a whole lot to do with his career being done. And then Andrew Luck, whose career seems to be dying very slowly every year because of everything they don't put around him. And now none of us have any idea what's going on with his shoulder injury. Shannon, in fact, I don't have any idea if he's going to be, like, what kind of player is he going to be coming off of this shoulder injury. I have no idea what they've got going. What I can't figure out is how the Colts don't have any idea.
Hasn't Andrew Luck missed time before? Shouldn't they have anticipated some of this?
And how about this? If there was a possibility that Andrew Luck could miss multiple weeks, why don't you go out here and get a quarterback that might be able to help you win some games? Because there's one that's out there. You had that option. You could have gone and gotten a quarterback that could help you win some games. But why win games, right? Who cares about winning games?
All right, if you're Chuck Pagano, you got to be looking at like, hey, guys, I mean, come on. You know, I'm on the hot seat as it is. You know, we got a new GM, so I'm sure he's going to want to bring in his guy. And you mean to tell me we're going to slow play this Andrew Luck comeback?
Dude, Chuck Pagano is, I'll take any quarterback y'all can get. That boy can kneel and put his knee on my back while he does it, just as long as he comes out here and plays football. Like, tell me this, if you imagine you get Chuck Pagano, ask him about Kaepernick when nobody's around. Imagine how honest Chuck Pagano will get. Chuck Pagano being that bad boy sounding like Michael Bennett. Chuck Pagano being that bad boy sounding like Ice Cube. Like, Kaepernick, young brother got it bad because I'm brown. Whatever it takes, man, whatever we need. How many coaches do you think there are, though, that really look at their rosters? Like John Harbaugh seemed to be that guy, right, when they were first talking about this. How many rosters do you think these coaches are looking at their roster and they're looking at the coach? Like, I mean, if I got to be honest with you, I think this would probably be a good way for us to establish a dialogue so we could communicate with the community. Because the Colts are on this list of teams that have just decided, no, we don't want to win that bad. And for the Colts, I think it winds up being even stranger that they're doing this because they're in one of those divisions that everybody has a chance to win every year because the rest of the division is so sorry. You've always got a chance to win the AFC South. If they could just hold it down for these weeks that he was out, because 1 or 2 games might matter because I don't know how many games they're going to win with Andrew Luck there. But let's say Andrew Luck misses 3 games and they go 0-3 in that stretch while he's out. Say he goes 0-3, they go 0-3 in that stretch while he's out. I mean, they might be done. And then that means you're going to bring Andrew Luck back so he can get beat up again, possibly get hurt again, and you got absolutely nothing to show for it. They had a chance to go out here and do something that would help them grasp a playoff spot. Nope. We don't want to do that because the people might get mad. Shannon, how do you think Chuck Pagano feels? What distraction do you think Chuck Pagano would rather have? You think Chuck Pagano would rather have the distraction of losing 46-9, or Chuck Pagano would rather come out here and talk about police brutality? Because I think Chuck Pagano would much rather come out here and talk about police brutality.
Using all the vernacular, my brother. Yes.
Oh, yeah, dude. Chuck Pagano's like, look, if y'all get me a quarterback, I'll wear some pig socks. Whatever it takes, man. These football coaches, they're not really wired to care about that sort of thing. That's just not really how they wind up going. So, like, let's go through this league and just look at the guys who are on these rosters starting at quarterback. Well, we already know Tom Coughlin. He decided he don't want to win. He'd rather be a cranky old man than go out here and get these W's. I don't know how Bob McNair feels about this, but I bet Bill O'Brien, no matter what we think about his general taste in quarterbacks, if you give him the choice of Deshaun Watson or Kaepernick, which one do you think he's taking? Since it's come down to Deshaun Watson, which one do you think that Bill O'Brien would rather have? I bet he'd rather have Kaepernick. I bet he would. You go up and down the league, you play this game with all these different teams. John Fox. How do you think John Fox feel right now? John Fox would be like, look, if Kaepernick will come here, he can go to midfield before the first game with Laquan McDonald's mama for the coin toss. Whatever it takes, we just need a quarterback. And the Colts were like, yeah, we need a quarterback. That's why we were so glad to have Andrew Luck. But, if we don't have him, we don't want a quarterback at all. At all. And he signed that long-term deal, too. Like, you want to know the difference between the NFL and the NBA? You couldn't be as incompetent running your franchise with the Colts in the NBA. No, because Andrew Luck would have gotten to the end of that contract and gone somewhere else. Like, the NBA has much more of an enforcement constraint on the back end where these dudes are like, nah, man, I'll leave. The NFL's got that franchise tag, and one of the worst things about the franchise tag truly is star player cannot hold your team hostage. Star player cannot make your team do better. Star player cannot do anything to motivate to be like, yo, I feel like y'all need to go out here and get some more talent around me. There's nothing that you can do. So Andrew Luck, as nice a guy as he is, and he's always saying the right thing, Shannon, how long is it before Andrew Luck going to finally lose his mind and, like, do the closest thing to cussing people out that, Andrew Luck would do? How long do you think it's going to be?
I do wonder, though, like, what would be the tipping point for him in Indianapolis? Like, you touched on it earlier. They haven't really put the weapons around him, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They haven't been able really to establish a run game. I know they brought in Frank Gore, but it wasn't San Francisco Frank Gore.
No, to be fair, they put more weapons around him on offense than they have on defense.
Oh, but it's the Colts. I assume they didn't have a strong defense. But I'm just talking about, like, the line. And
the line's the issue, because I feel like they've made attempts, right? The Trent Richardson thing didn't work out, but they tried to bring in a running back there. They gave him receivers. Like, I think at all these different points, they've had people for him to throw the ball to. The line at different points has been good. It has been, like, up and down, but there have been points where that line has actually been good. Some of the problems the Colts have had have been his, but this is not how you build a franchise around Andrew Luck. Now, my question for you, Shannon, is not what's going to be the tipping point for Andrew Luck. My question for you is, what's it going to sound like when Andrew Luck hits the tipping point?
All right, guys, I'm through with this stuff.
888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. People calling in talking about the day they realize they need to quit playing football. Let's hit the phone and talk to Jason in Northern Michigan. Jason, thanks for calling the right time.
Monty, big fan until you started hating on my Lions.
I didn't hate on your Lions. You know your Lions been sorry your whole life. I'm just spitting that truth.
They've been sorry. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but maybe, NFC North. Can we get there?
It's possible, but you understand why I would be apprehensive about making such a bold proclamation.
Of course, you're a smart guy. So you guys are talking about football. I come from a small town in northern Michigan. Everyone plays football, but I didn't know anything about it. We go get pads, and they're wearing me more than I'm wearing them. You know what I mean? I look like one of those foosball players, and on the table. So we're all in a group, and the coach says, "All right, all the skilled position players go with me." And I'm watching everyone going, "No, that's not me." And then the other coach is like, "Okay, all the tough guys go with me," and I'm like, that's not me either. I don't know where to go. And so he's like, you come with me. You're a tough guy. So I spent 2 years on the line getting pounded. And the last season I was on kickoff because that's where you put guys like me. And biggest guy in the league. He wasn't refrigerator Perry. He was like college dorm refrigerator at that level. And he's coming down, beats everyone. He could have went around me, but he was going to prove a point. Drills me, trips over me, save a tackle, save a touchdown. I'm wandering off the field the wrong direction. Guys are grabbing me, pulling me back the other way. End of the season, they give me a big award for best hit of the year. I got hit. I didn't do the hitting, and I realized that's it. I was like 85 pounds. That's enough for me.
Dude, I understand, Jason. I greatly appreciate the call.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
You guys been calling up with them stories about that day you realize you need to quit playing football. Let's hit the phones and talk to Darius in Charlotte. Darius, thanks for calling the Right Time.
Hey, what's up, Bomani?
Doing all right?
Hey, man. I was playing D in high school. It was my first year playing high school. I was a high school football. I was a senior, and the quarterback came out on the bootleg, and all I had to do was go and tackle him, and I got blindsided, a crackback block by one of his receivers. It felt like falling off a rainbow road on Mario Kart. I got up. I couldn't run straight. I was running sideways. I couldn't even run straight. I went to the sideline. The coach, not the trainer, but the coach asked me what today was. And I was like, oh man, like, did I get hit that hard? Like he had to ask me what today was. And after that I said, okay, football's not for me. And to this day, I still can't park straight. I have a little crooked when I park.
Dang, man. Appreciate the call. 888-729-3776. This is our telephone number. So today's a day that Shannon's been looking forward to for a long time. We were curious to know whether or not whether the Lakers would retire Kobe Bryant's number 8 jersey or if the Lakers would retire Kobe's number 24 jersey. Right? Now, just so you know, he played more games as number 8, but he was the prime of his career when he became number 24, so his numbers were better. I believe he had 3 rings as number 8. He had 2 rings as number 24. And so we were just wondering, which jersey the Lakers would retire, and apparently the answer is both. The Lakers will be retiring number 8, and the Lakers will be retiring number 24. And in case you're curious, I think Shannon is probably the person most curious about this one. Kobe led the league in field goal attempts 6 times in his career, 5 in the number 24 jersey. There it is. So, Shannon, which one do you think they should have retired?
Number 8. That's an easy one. Should have went with number 8.
Why is that?
Because he didn't have a silly nickname like the Mamba or a self-appointed nickname, the Mamba out. No, he didn't give himself his nickname until he was, 24, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he had it when he was 8, right?
I don't think so.
So then that's why, for me, it would be number 8. Yeah, I get all the stats and the finals MVPs and all that other stuff with 24. Who cares about that stuff? When did you give yourself a nickname? And if you gave yourself your own nickname, that automatically disqualify you.
I think, though, the best part about him calling himself the Black Mamba is then it allowed us to call all kinds of other people the White Mamba, ironically. Right? Like, maybe that was his contribution to the world. Isn't Brian Scalabrine the White Mamba?
No, but we at least call that person the White Mamba.
Yes.
He didn't say to himself, hey, you know what? I can be, well, maybe no one Scalabrine probably did. But still, the point being that we gave that person that nickname.
Yes.
Give yourself your own nickname.
I agree. I totally agree with this. I feel like the Lakers should have retired one number, and then the other one, either you don't give it out or you only give it out on special occasions, right? Like the number 88 for the Cowboys, where they only give it out to certain people. I thought that's maybe what they should have done. That's maybe how they should have played it. But no. They are going to retire them both. This is like the opposite of the, Willis Reed and Dick Barnett. They got the same jersey retired for the Knicks. It's 15, I think. Whichever one is 15, it's Earl Monroe. That's right. It's Dick Barnett and Earl Monroe that had the same number retired for the Knicks, where Kobe gets to have two numbers. Two numbers. Shane, you don't even care about the Lakers. Are you furious about this?
I'm not furious, but I did feel as though this was a bit beneath the Lakers. And I don't know if the Lakers are just trying to catch the Celtics in a number of retired jerseys, but this seems a bit. This seems beneath them. Like if it was someone like, say, I don't know, the Miami Heat who retired a jersey of a player who never played for them, then yeah, I can understand that,
Eddie Jones, like when y'all gonna retire both of my jerseys, put my name up there, Miguel Goodrich's, baby. I had that number before y'all got this bright idea. Yeah, Eddie Jones. Y'all remember me? Y'all traded me out of here so Kobe could get more shots. Didn't they trade Eddie Jones for Glenn Rice? No. He was in a trade before the Glenn Rice trade. I can't remember who they got for Glenn Rice. Or was he in the Glenn Rice trade? Either way it goes, they got Eddie Jones out of there just before it got cracking, which always has to be a little bit disappointing. But no, they got both of those for Kobe.
Yes, that is correct.
Rice?
Yeah, he was traded to Charlotte for Glenn Rice.
There we go.
There you go.
Now, we're going to put it on the poll there. Which Kobe number do you think they should retire? The 8, the 24, or both? The 8, the 24, or both? Shannon, I thought you were going to say they shouldn't retire none of them.
No, you got to. How could you forget Kobe's tenure and all the greatness that he provided for us basketball fans around the world? There's no way we can forget that.
I thought you were going to say he should have retired his number 8 jersey because his number 8 jersey is when your favorite Kobe moment of all happened.
I'm just saying, if you want a daily reminder of what happened with Kobe getting that 2-piece and a biscuit while wearing number 8, I figured by retiring that number 8 jersey, hanging up there in the rafters at the Staples Center, will be a daily reminder to all the Laker fans of when Kobe caught that work. That's all I'm saying.
Kobe is your son's favorite player, and I felt like such a good friend and bad person that time I pulled up the video on the YouTube of Chris Childs punching Kobe in the face. You just like, why do you punch Kobe? Because Kobe had it coming. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. So to Richard in Virginia. Richard, thanks for calling the right time.
Bomani, how you doing, man? Great show. Just wanted to tell you about the time I knew I needed to give up football. All through Pop Warner, Little League, my play was called an 88 throw-out screen. Take a step over the line, go back, catch the ball, touchdown. I played for Monsters. We always scored on that play. Coach knew about it when I got to high school freshman year, decided to run that play. Yeah, that linebacker, he saw that play coming. When I caught the ball, I just knew it was a touchdown. My blocker slipped or fell down or wasn't there. I still see that young gentleman's face as he hit me. When I woke up, my dad was holding me, and I was in the locker room. The game was over. Everybody else was leaving, so this was before concussions were known about or whatever. But evidently I had one. I was out for a few hours. This was one of the first plays of the game. Yeah, I decided to turn to basketball after that. That was my last game playing football.
Yeah, my dad was holding me. That's I appreciate the call, Reggie. Yeah, that's a wrap. My dad was holding me. That's when your dad breaks out all the manhood and cradles you to his bosom. Yeah, it's a wrap.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, just like our next guest. He covers the NFL and the Houston Texans for the Houston Chronicle. Been one of my favorites literally as long as I can remember. His name is John McClain. All right, John, first question. What is the latest with Deshaun Watson and his ankle?
Deshaun Watson will start unless he has swelling from practicing today. He took the first team reps. Everybody expects him to start against the Bengals on Thursday night. And by the way, Bomani, it took me a long time to get on your show. Every day I listen to you, I'm thinking, what do I got to do to get on a show with a Houston kid who's made such a name for himself?
Man, we always worry you too busy for us, man. You are the great John McClain and your team.
I feel like I've arrived.
Hey, look, man, your team keeps you busy. Like, that is the other part. Because, like, with this thing with Watson, where we were curious is, did he suddenly get ready? Or is this just a matter of them realizing he might be able to save himself behind that offensive line?
Tom Savage had the better preseason, better offseason. They loved Watson's improvement, his intelligence, everything about him. They think he's going to be special. But the offense, It's a pretty complicated offense, and they give the quarterback a lot of freedom at the line of scrimmage. And Watson can handle a game plan, but they're not going to give him the same one as they would give Savage. And in the first game, their offensive line was dreadful. And Tom Savage held the ball too long a couple of times, so they put Watson in because Savage was getting obliterated. And he did pretty well. He got sacked 4 times, but you would have been, how old were you in 1984? Warren Moon got sacked, I believe, 10 and 12 times against the Cowboys and Raiders, but they were loaded with Hall of Fame defenders. Now, maybe some of the Jaguars are going to the Hall of Fame, but man, oh man, I've never seen an offensive line play worse, and people may have to have mercy on Watson against the Bengals.
We're talking to John McClain of the Houston Chronicle here on The Right Time. Now, how equipped is O'Brien to switch this offense up to fit around Watson, because he doesn't seem like the sort of quarterback that O'Brien typically likes?
They have worked with him from the get-go about having some things in for him that they wouldn't have for Savage. Savage has got a great arm. He can make every throw. He's not fast. He can roll out. Watson, of course, can throw on the run going right or left. He's got a lot better arm than I thought, Bomani, based on everything I had read on scouting reports. I went back at the end of training camp and read everything I could about him going into the draft, and some of the things that I saw question his decision-making, throwing into traffic. We didn't see that. And some of those, I remember watching Gruden's quarterback show in which he went over all of his interceptions, and Gruden, not Watson, pointed out how many were not Watson's fault. But he's a great leader, charismatic. He reminds me, I've been saying this from the get-go. A lot of people here get mad about it, but it's true. He reminds me at this point of his career of Warren Moon. Same kind of personality, same build. Warren's a little bit stouter, but that's because Warren worked on the weight program all the time, and Watson will too. But he did quiet confidence, quiet leadership, the way players gravitate to him reminds me the same way Moon was in 1984 when he was a 27-year-old rookie.
Now, what is the mood around this team? Because we'd heard the whispers in the offseason about the discord between the head coach and the general manager, and then we have this new quarterback that's in, and that's not always the greatest way to save your job if you're a head coach. So what's the vibe around this team been?
Well, right now they're doing everything they can to put that miserable performance against Jacksonville behind them. It's a good thing they got a short week because they need to play again. But purely selfishly, I'm glad it's a short week too, because I still I got the stench of that performance still on my clothes. And so I think Cincinnati also was awful. You know, this is a battle of right now 2 bad offenses. Texans' defense was a big disappointment, too. I thought for sure their defense was going to be dominant. It didn't do much good against Jacksonville, certainly didn't force any turnovers, didn't stop the run. So right now, as you know, Bomani, one game, the season's over, everybody should be fired.
You're talking to John McClain of the Houston Chronicle here on The Right Time. Now, coming off that injury, how did J.J. Watt look this weekend?
Watt looked very ordinary. So did Jadeveon Clowney. They combined for 2 tackles, which is the same number left guard Xavier Safilo had chasing down returns.
Yep, that'll do it. We're talking to John McClain here of the Houston Chronicle. Now, Dwayne Brown is holding out. Did the awful performance of the line bring them any closer to resolution?
No, Dwayne's got 2 years left on his contract. He's walked away from $553,000 a week, which shocked us all. He just turned 32. This same line, with one exception, right tackle Derek Newton played first 4 games without Brown last year when he was recovering from surgery, and they were 3-1, and they allowed only 7 sacks, and 3 of the teams they played against finished with winning records. So this line has played well enough with these players, and so I don't know. The first game, I'm not exactly sure how they could collectively play it pathetically, but you hope as a coach and as an owner and a general manager, they got it out of their system. You know, what they need to do was walk behind the building, stick their finger down their toes and throw it up and move on.
All right, talking to John McClain here of the Houston Chronicle. Now, have you ever had a situation where you could think of where a team's whole position group wound up on the injury report and might not be able to play because all the Texans tight ends are in the concussion protocol?
I just finished my 40th training camp, and I've never seen that. Their tight ends are decimated with concussions. They had 5 concussions in the first game, 4 offensive, and Brian Cushing, who is a terrible loss because he was playing really well. I've never seen it, Bomani, and they're going to have to play some linemen as extra tight ends. They've got one on the practice squad, Evan Bayless, an undrafted rookie. They're going to have to not utilize tight ends in their passing game, and last year that was a big deal. The one hurt the worst is their best receiver, C.J. Fedorowicz, went on IR. Means he's got to miss 6 games before he can practice and 8 games before he can play.
So how is the city after the storm?
The city after the storm is in really good shape as far as the recovery that has begun. City and county leaders done a tremendous job, but there's still a lot of people whose lives were shattered by the floods who need a lot of help. It is a months-long process to recovery. Thank you for asking.
Hey, man, thank you. Stay strong. That's John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, man. Thank you for all the kind words, and we'll have you all soon, I promise.
That sounds good. Thanks, Bomani. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. All right, now.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
I do have to say this right fast about having John McClain on. You guys know I'm from Houston, so I've been reading and keeping up with John McClain my whole life. Shannon, you know, anytime some good news comes around from me, John McClain sends me a text to tell me congratulations.
Oh, wow, that's really dope.
Like when the TV show news came up, so like it's always the coolest thing to have John McClain on, even though he said he wondered how long it was going to be before we had him on, and that's the 3rd time he's been on the show. I still rock with him, though. He's my dude. Like, that makes me feel good inside. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Letting y'all call in, talk about that hit you took that made you decide to quit playing football. Let's talk to Damon in Kentucky. Damon, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, Bo. Appreciate you taking my call.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I want to come at this from a little bit different angle. I was a pretty good high school player. I could have went to a couple of mid-major schools, Morehead State and Kentucky State, but I ended up going to a NAI school in Tennessee called Carson Newman. Long story short, my freshman year, I get my girlfriend pregnant. I call home and tell my dad, and he's like, "Oh, you got to quit." I'm like, "Dad, don't cut me off. I still got a chance. Maybe I can, make this. Maybe I still got a chance to make it to the league." He said, "They don't let stupid people in the league." And by being stupid, I mean, he knew that other people had children before they, were in the league. But he's like, if you think I'm going to work hard all my life to raise you up to be a deadbeat dad, you got to be stupid. And that was the hit that knocked me out of football. My father told me I was too stupid to play football.
You might be the leader in the clubhouse on these stories thus far, David. Appreciate that. They don't let stupid people in the Woo! 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So ESPN has done their rankings of their top 100 NBA players so far. Shannon, is LeBron number 1?
Counting down, they haven't got to 1 yet. So.
Oh, we're counting down. So far we just have, right, Carmelo Anthony is at number 64. He was number 31 last year. Melo is now at number 64. And if you think it's crazy enough that Melo was dropped to 64, Lonzo Ball is at 63. They're saying that Lonzo Ball already is better than Melo, Shannon. Already saying that he is better than Melo. I mean, look, Lonzo Ball had a great Summer League in Las Vegas. It became a thing. We all came to check it out. But how salty do you think Melo is? Or would you like me to tell you how salty Melo is, Shannon? Did you know he tweeted about it?
Sure he did.
He said, and I quote, "Can't make sense out of nonsense. A certain darkness is needed to see the stars at ESPN. Don't be so blatant with the disrespect." That reminds me of this one time that some guy got on ESPN and said that Melo was not a top 5 player, but a top 10 player, and then Melo called that person a hater. You remember who that was, Shannon?
I do recall that. That was great.
That was. I think it was in 2010 that he did that. How thirsty you think Melo would be for somebody to call him a top 10 player now? When's the last time somebody called me a top 10 player? Because a whole lot of people called me a hater then and for saying that Melo was a top 10 player and not a top 5 player. And I was right, by the way. I was right then. I'm right now. And now Melo's at 64, and I feel like we kind of tripping. Can you name 63 better basketball players in the NBA than Carmelo Anthony? Like, I'd be very curious to see the rest of the list because I think Lonzo had to be the name to make him be like, come on, bro, you tripping.
Oh, no, it might actually be worse. Let me give you a list of some of the names that were ahead of Melo on this list, all right?
All right.
So Melo's in at 64, Lonzo 63, Eric Gordon 62.
Hold on, we're saying Eric Gordon is better than Melo?
Let's continue. Avery Bradley 61, Devin Booker at 60.
Seems kind of low for him.
Exactly. Danny Green, 59.
Oh, we got Danny Green is better than Melo.
Harrison Barnes, 58. Andrew Wiggins, 50.
Hold on. Harrison Barnes that plays for the Mavericks?
Yes, that same Harrison Barnes, yes.
Okay.
Harrison Barnes, 58. Andrew Wiggins, 57. Malcolm Brogdon, 56.
No.
Let me give you 55. Robert Covington.
I hope Melo ain't listening. Melo might drive his car off the road. Robert Covington? Is that what we're doing? Yo!
Wait, without looking him up, do you actually know who Robert Covington is?
He plays for the Sixers, right?
Very good. I honestly, when I first saw it, it didn't have the team next to it, so I didn't know who he was.
The nerds are really big into Robert Covington. I'm not going to pretend as though I watch the Sixers enough to give you any real answers about him, because why in the world would I do that? We only talk about them on TV when they lose, and you don't need to watch them to talk about them losing. But Robert Covington made this list like lots of spots over Melo. Lots of spots over Melo.
Spots ahead of Melo.
Yo, man, I am totally on board with Melo in all his fury about this. In fact, let me go look at this. So Melo's at 64, right? Let me look at who 65 is. 65 is 65 is Marcus Smart. They try to say that Melo is basically no better than Marcus Smart. Shannon, Melo got to go see somebody, right? Melo go show up at Bristol. I don't even know if he know how to get there, but he's going to show up in Bristol. And Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez, way over Melo.
The Rooster comes in ahead of Melo, the guy who was traded for Melo.
I told you I wound up meeting some people at Central Park one day who said the Rooster stayed at their house one night and slept on an air mattress.
Do they even make air mattresses long enough for dudes that tall?
No, they don't. Especially, it's not like he brought his own air mattress. The air mattress was just at the crib. I don't know about you, bro, but I feel like he made too much money. You just got to hit on Hotel Tonight and see what you can work out for the evening.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, just like our next guest. Check him out at theundefeated.com. His name is Mike Wise. Now, Mike, we had you on because you go back with Charles Oakley. Did you expect him to sue Jim Dolan?
I heard rumors to the effect, Bo, and can I call you Bo, by the way? Are we
of course.
I don't know. So I heard rumors to the effect that he had been hit by a phone or somebody, a security guard in Jim Dolan's, and Phil Jackson's bodyguard, by the way, had communicated that to someone I know. No one could ever pin it down, but look, I didn't see this coming. I thought it was. I thought they had either worked things out or that they were on their way back to some kind of amenable reconciliation. And so, all of a sudden, Charles Oakley is on the Knicks payroll again. It's unbelievable.
Now, we joked about this, that like the hardest thing to get out of this with the lawsuit is Charles Oakley saying that Jim Dolan inflicted emotional distress upon him, because it's hard to think of someone inflicting emotional distress on Charles Oakley. But is this the sort of thing where you feel like he's hurt by what's happened?
I think this was more than physical. I mean, Charles Oakley's been in some scrapes physically that would cause him a lot of physical pain. I think Charles Oakley was wounded that night, and I don't think, and he's got to take some of the blame. But the way the crowd was handled, the way the security guards basically stepped to him and asked him to leave, at no point was there a consideration that he might go to another seat in the arena. It was just handled poorly. And then for them to, you're basically 5 or 6 security guards are putting a former player that was a cult hero back in the 90s on the floor and taking him through the corridors into the bowels of the garden. I mean, it was just, the whole thing was sort of the nadir of the Knicks franchise since the glory days of Riley, Van Gundy, and the times when people actually thought they were a contender.
All right, we're talking to Mike Wise of the Undefeated here on The Right Time. I know you've done this on the show before, but for those who weren't listening that day, would you mind telling them about the time that you rode with Charles Oakley to his house in Cleveland?
Oh, it's still one of my favorite memories. We actually, it was Frank Isola, me, Barbara Barker from Newsday. Gosh, I want to say Steve Popper from the Asbury Park Press, maybe a couple other people. And he essentially, Isola had talked him into telling, if somehow Isola had said that every time you were host at an All-Star game, the host takes the beat writers around. Well, the All-Star game happened to be in Cleveland that year. Of course, Charles Oakley being one of the most significant citizens to ever come out of East Cleveland, basically said, all right, meet me at the hotel. I'll have a car to pick you up. Well, it was a stretch limo. We got into the stretch limo, and essentially Charles Oakley was in a purple pinstripe suit with a matching fedora. And I just remember Frank Isola looking at him, and he goes, dang, Oak, you're like the godfather of Cleveland. And Oakley looking at us and going, you're down with the king, ain't you? And I mean, from that moment on, the most depressing thing was when we pulled up at the Supper Club in East Cleveland, which he owns. And it was the All-Star weekend. I mean, a limo pulls up in front of the Supper Club, and it's Charles Oakley's restaurant. They thought that Scottie Pippen, Jordan, Ewing, Oakley was going to get out of that limo, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, what's up? It's the White Riders. Who are you guys? It was not a good scene. It was very embarrassing, but nonetheless, it ended. The night ended with Charles taking us to his actual home. His mom, Corinne, made the best sweet potato pie I ever had in my life. We ate soul food. We sat on Charles's couch that was covered with plastic still from when he was a young man. I guess he spilled his chocolate milk or something. And the greatest part was when he actually showed us his prom date on the picture, prom date on the wall. And she goes, she's beautiful, Oak. And Oakley just looked at us and said, somebody had to take her. I mean, you couldn't make it up.
We were talking about
so, it just showed. And at no point did we ever write about it until I think after we got traded to the Knicks. Nobody ever. I mean, it wasn't something that he ever did for publicity. He just wanted to show us what his world was about. And to this day, it's probably my fondest memory of ever hanging out with a player and letting us into his life like that.
We're talking to Mike Wise of the Undefeated here on The Right Time. Since I've got you here, you are in Washington. How have overreaction Monday and Tuesday been over the team losing this weekend?
Oh, the Washington football team, God bless them. Those young lads are trying so hard, and they have management getting in the way of themselves for them. And, the whole Kirk Cousins thing is played out. I saw a stat, and believe it or not, since 2012, Kirk Cousins and Colin Kaepernick have the same amount of touchdowns. I think it's like 72. And actually, I think Kirk's got about 3 more interceptions. So I don't know what that says. I don't think any GM in the right mind right now would take Kaepernick over Cousins because he's been prolific last 2 seasons. It just goes to show you that it would be one of the main things that management would sadly be happy about this year. If Kirk Cousins did not take them to the playoffs and he had a horrible year, then they could say to their fan base, look, weren't we smart for not paying him that money? I mean, can you imagine being in a situation where if things go sour early on your team, you're almost rooting for your quarterback now to have a great season because he's going to be gone at some point, and God bless America that you didn't spend $100 million on him. That is not a great position to be in. They could have had him for much cheaper early. They messed it up, and now he's the only quarterback in NFL history to be playing under a franchise tag for the 2nd straight season.
Well, it was weird watching that game because he certainly did not play well, but it wasn't like anybody played well in that. Like, I was looking for the bright side for Washington. I didn't see it at all.
No, the defense, got off and on the field several times, and I thought that their defense showed a lot more improvement than a year ago. But, the offense, I mean, when you're missing Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson from free agency and you bring in these new guys and Crowder, that offense was what kept them in games last year, what brought them to where they are in a pass-happy, don't kill the quarterback anymore league. And when you can't get that offense going, Bomani, you've got no shot in the NFL. So that doesn't get fixed, and Jay Gruden doesn't call the right plays soon, they're going to have real problems, and I think everybody's job is going to be up for debate.
All right, we're talking to Mike Wise of the Undefeated here on The Right Time. Carmelo Anthony's not happy with the company. I'm not sure if you've heard this, but they got him at number 64 on the NBA rank behind Lonzo Ball. He's not so pleased. Are we too hard on Melo? Because I've come to the point where I went from thinking that we were giving Melo too much credit to like the last 5 years just feeling like we pick on Melo.
I think we've all taken a page from the Phil Jackson scrapbook. It's just piling on right now on Melo. I'm sure Lala's doing it herself somewhere, and it's just sad, and I'm tired of it. And the only thing I'm upset about is that somehow LeVar wasn't ahead of Lonzo. I know LeVar is angry about it tonight. I mean, how do you really? I should not talk because we got some grief over the top 50 black athletes of all time list that the Undefeated put out, which I was very happy about traffic-wise, but didn't agree with some of the selections. Still, how can you put Lonzo Ball ahead of Carmelo Anthony? He hasn't played an NBA game. Carmelo Anthony has a body of work. I don't understand it.
I was just that lost, and you and I both know Lala just went and bought a Lonzo Ball jersey in size extra small, which will be on Instagram very, very soon. That is my guess. Right. Hey, that's Mike Wise. Correct. Check him out, theundefeated.com. My man, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks for listening to The Right Time Podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.